Welcome, ladies and gents. My name is Alec Ransom, and I have a massive headache. And I'm not in the mood for any of your shit. So, thankfully, I don't have to deal with you, because if you're listening to this podcast, you have to deal with me. So, if you don't like it, shut it off. But give a like, subscribe, and share, and purchase a shirt before you do, because that's what decent people do, and I think it's important that we all do decent things. So sit back, relax, and
you're listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Hi, ladies and germs. It's the Plymouth Dodge Voyager minivan neon. It's the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast, and it's going to be one bamboozled show after another in this sequence of events that we like to call the Pittsburgh Portsmouth. It's all falling apart to begin with. So you know what? I say we go to the extreme.
You're killing it.
I say we go. Shut up. I say we go to the extreme.
Whoa.
I'm locked. I'm loaded. I'm the cruiserweight champion. I don't care what you say. And it's time to talk about wrestling. It's not time to hold hands. It's not time to sing Kumbaya. It's not time to talk about fitness, video games, what you would do in a cookie world where you get $1 million. That horseshit is out. Just like Tiger Bomb Tom. He's out too. And it's P3 time. Wrestle time, wrestle face, wrestle flatulence. Poot the Bard's here. Beast the Legend is here. And as always, you're belligerent. Let's make no sense and heal up real hard. Mad Champ Alec Ransom is here as well. We're going to kick this off by thanking the sponsors. Casual Gaming Dad. Check him out on the internet. Google him. It's not hard. Sean Tischler. He works with IWC in Clearfield. If you don't know what IWC is, Google it. You'll figure it out. If you don't know who Sean Tischler is, Google it. You'll get some great deals on a multifamily garage sale. Let's talk about what happened on a wrestling thing. Go.
All right. So I think we should start with the very sad middle life crisis Shane McMahon bachelor party that is Raw Underground.
What can you stop for a second and explain to me what Raw Underground is? Because I don't know. I didn't look it up.
Oh,
I'm very lazy, and I didn't do any research.
I'm going to let Beef handle this one.
Yeah, buddy, tell me about it. Talk your sweet whispers into my ear hole.
So, if you remember Wrestle Society X, it was kind of that, but
what was that?
All for all. So it's all right. So let me. All right, I'll explain this first. It's basically an underground fight club, but televised, which means it's not underground.
Okay.
So, but stick with me.
All right.
It's got a ref or a ref-looking person. I don't remember if they were wearing referee duds or not. A ring with no ropes. Okay. A pit full of people, like not like a pit, but like a mosh pit style like full of people. Where apparently the next challenger can just come up off of the floor and challenge Big McLarge Shoes Titan Man.
Oh no!
There were women dancing with poles, as any good underground fight club has, bathed in neon lights, and of course, like a distinctive yet nondescript and non-copyright infringing thump 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 of some random beats. No announcers, just Shayna with the microphone, hosting allegedly shoot fights.
And is this part of the 3-hour Raw episode, or does this air at a different time than Raw?
They like intermingled it in the 10 o'clock hour. They went back and forth like 3 or 4 times to it. And like had like the quote unquote fights happen. So I like it. Well, rather I won't go that far yet. I'll say that I'm not soured on it. No, man. Listen to Pro.
No, man.
Listen to the show.
Oh, I don't.
Look, Cova Prill.
It's okay.
I live it. I'm not listening to it.
So it's new. It's inventive. It's intriguing.
So these are not wrestling matches, right?
No, they are.
They're not. There's no suplexes, DDTs.
I mean, you're gonna see some of that, but I mean, it's a lot more shoot based than it is wrestle based.
So it's supposed to be like a bare knuckle boxing type,
kind of
like anything goes street fight type deal.
Exactly.
I mean, minus the sonic booms and the Hadoukens.
Precisely.
But these are scripted.
Right. So
okay, so this isn't a brawl for all type deal. Like it's not guys getting in there and it's legit beating each other up.
It sounds like they're trying to because that whole idea calmed down. It's kind of like the Lucha Underground thing. If you ever watched Lucha Underground,
I have not.
But you should.
I buy it. I'd buy that comparison for $1.
Well, you should. Just it's the aesthetic. It's the fact that it's like, oh, it's somewhere that's more.
Yeah, the mysterious fucking Lucha Temple. Yeah,
like it's that whole kind of vibe. And I mean, like, just like anything, as always, I'll be Switzerland and say we'll see where it goes. But my initial thing is I was like, Shane, Shane. With the
I don't understand his purpose in it, other to say, "Hey, I'm a name you recognize from the past."
So hold on, wait.
Well,
what's the premise of the matches? Is it random guys, or is it everybody versus Shane?
No, it's random guys. Some you know, some you don't.
He's just hosting it?
Yeah, he's like an MC. Yeah.
Okay. Does he do commentary during the matches?
Not to speak of. I think he had like, oh, what a hit, things like that, and he'll like run in whenever the match is over, be like, okay, ref, stop it.
Okay, so hold on now. Just wait a second here, Mr. Hassenpfeffer.
It would make it would make opinions and talking about things a lot easier if you would watch the fucking show. I'm just kidding. I would never expect you to watch a show because I don't watch the fucking show.
There's truth in every joke, Beef. Calm down. Relax.
So
don't want to get y'all hot and bothered this early.
Listen, Skippy. So there's no commentary during this scripted shoot fight.
Right.
It's just the guys in the ring swatting at each other, and then Shane occasionally chimes in and goes, "Oh." So it's
the music
guys in the ring
like
swatting at each
crowd.
other to techno dubstep.
Yeah, but and the crowd, the ambient like rah 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 rah, you can do it.
Oh yes, WWE's scripted crowd. Yes.
Hey, you know what? They were better than the actual scripted crowd, so I'll take it.
Oh dear.
So here's what I like about it. Like I said, it's new and inventive. It's fun. It's different. It's very clearly taking a page out of Josh Barnett, or before Josh Barnett, Matt Riddle, Bloodsport, which is one of my favorite shows on WrestleMania weekend, where I don't know if it's like actual shoot fights. They feel like they're actual shoot fights with like wrestling personalities and like UFC personalities. I think Moxley was supposed to fight Josh Barnett this year. And I heard rumblings that Moxley was supposed to fight Minoru Suzuki, which fucking sign me up. But anyway, so it's taking cues from that, taking a fake sport and making it look more legit. Again, I don't know if Bloodsport's legit or not. It sure looks fucking legit.
It's the argument. Well, it's the idea with Bloodsport supposedly is that it's semi-fixed. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the idea that in this case, it's the outcome is determined, but everything that happens is not. That's
in Bloodsport or Raw Underground?
In Bloodsport. That was the
Okay.
impetus in Bloodsport. So I can only assume that it's not going to be that leaned, leaned that far to where it's left open to that much possible chaos.
No.
Like they're gonna definitely tighten it up a little bit. However,
easy, Rick.
Look, they're gonna tighten up those fights there, Beefy. Oh,
geez, Poot.
Yes. Look, come along on this journey with me. I got a lot to say. The the thing is, it's like WWE is going to take that again with most things that they steal. I mean, invent. I mean, whatever. They're going to take the idea and do like a nerfed play school version of it. That's my concern. Is they're not gonna fully pull the trigger. They're gonna put just.
Here's
the
what I
tip
hate about
in.
it. Here's what I hate. I hate the fucking camera cuts, and I get it because like with UFC, you don't have to, and like other MMA, you don't have to worry about camera cuts because the people are actually getting fucking hit and kicked and kneed and fucking slammed. Like you don't have to worry about making that sport look good but guess what? It looks good on its own because it's a fucking sport. So like I get sometimes camera cuts, but like I'm talking constant, like every like 2 seconds, boom cut, boom cut, boom cut, boom cut, as they're like raining down.
I feel like that was a gripe that I had at a pay-per-view this year.
All of them.
There was just constant camera cuts.
All of them. And
okay.
Anything that's been pre-taped, they've been cutting like crazy. Which again, that's the benefit of pre-taping. But here's another idea. Teach the boys to fucking sell. Teach the boys to fucking like shoot and work hard. You can make a fight look good without actually looking like dog shit without doing 87 fucking camera cuts. So while I appreciate WWE coming out of their wheelhouse, trying something new and inventive, I too have the fear that the Bard has in saying that I feel like it's going to be bastardized. I feel like it's going to be homogenized and pasteurized. I feel like it's going to be, at the end of the day, it's going to be something we look back on and go, oh yeah, remember that? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Like we have done with so many things the WWE has tried to do in the past.
Yep. And no credit where credit's due. Josh Barnett, someone tweeted at Josh Barnett about them ripping off his idea. It's like, hey, fucking no surprise, because Josh Barnett's a cool dude. But I mean, it's just it's frustrating because like I want it to work because they had Eric from the Viking Raiders in a match, and I was like, man, this fucking suits him. Like he's fucking just railing off on this dude. He hits a big knee. Like, okay, like, and so...
You know who else it suits? I'm sorry, this just popped in my head because you said Eric. You know who else it suits?
Whom?
Damo.
Yeah, man. Well, they got other plans for him, apparently.
Well, I know, but, like, man, that would just suit him so well.
Right? Oh, yeah.
And I know it's not Damo. What do they call him?
Killian Dane.
Killian Dane, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so this is in its infancy stage. We'll see if it sticks around or not. It's got some growing pains, I assume. But here's the other thing that I absolutely hate about it. Like, at the end of the show, the Hurt Club showed up and invaded Raw Underground. Which is a great... the Hurt Club, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley.
Oh, great. So that's their stable name now.
Yeah, the Hurt Club.
I thought it was the Hurt Society or the Hurt something else. It's not the Hurt Club. No,
it may not be.
No,
well, we got rid of one club. Let's bring in another club and send them to the fake fight club. Let's just club it up. Let's let them come down to the ring with clubs.
It's the Hurt Business.
The Hurt Business. Okay, my bad.
The Hurt Business.
My gosh. That's even worse than the Hurt Club. Why could they not have just pulled the trigger on the Nation of Domination?
That's kind of. Well, I mean, that's kind of what it is. That's. I mean, that they were likening it.
It's kind of what it is, but it's also not because
they even had Farouk show up and be like, talk to MVP. I'm like, listen, kid, learn from my mistakes. I think Mark Henry made a cameo in one of there. So I mean, it's very clear that they're making a lot of allusions to it.
The problem is they don't have the personalities to make it work. I'm sorry. MVP's great. MVP's awesome. But just, I
love Shelton, but he ain't a personality. And Bobby Lashley has as much personality as a fucking cracker. Like
Bobby
an actual
Lashley Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin have as much charisma and personality as a 2x4.
Yep.
Like it's not going to work. You've got one dude who can talk.
And you know what? I dig it. I like the stable. And I even like the angle of them showing up and be like, hey, we're taking over the underground. But you know what? Like, you can't, like, show up night one and be like, hey, this brand new thing, the Hurt Business is here to take over. Like, you can't. You need to
give
let
the
it
thing
breathe.
some time to be established.
Exactly.
Before you bring in a faction and go, oh, by the way, we're taking this over. You bring them in night one, you don't even let the show establish itself before you bring in a faction and say, we're taking over this brand new show, might as well be called the Hurt Show.
And we're three fucking jabronis who don't know shit about shit, and we understand that. Like, I don't... This is all... So here's my third and mostly primary concern, is that this is all just a vehicle to make Bobby Lashley look legit.
Oh, please, no.
You know... Bobby Lashley has had his chances. He ran Roughshod over ECW, and people shat all over it. He ran mid-card Roughshod and was involved with Donald Trump at WrestleMania 23, and people shat all over it. You know, he did okay in Impact. You know, like Bobby Lashley with the bandana. I guess the bandana is like his source of power. You take it away from him, and all of a sudden he's just a nameless mook. But, you know,
it seems like there has been multiple chances for them to give him a push as being dominant, and every time they do, nobody cares. How many more times are they going to do it?
The personality of a fucking notebook.
Well,
you know, the weird thing is
this what you think it's going to take to get Bobby Lashley over as a destroyer? Does he need a mouthpiece?
No, man.
Does he need a stable?
Nothing's going to get him over. Impact got him over. Impact, fucking TNA, did something that WWE is failing to do. And I know it seems like silly to say that, but guess what? Like, they made stars out of guys like Styles and Joe and Kurt Angle. And yes, Kurt Angle was a pre-established star, but like, you know, they made fucking people. So like Impact has done a lot of groundwork on a lot of these guys at WWE. You kind of bring in and be like, hey, you know what? Come on back. John Morrison, another one. So I mean, you know, Impact has a better fucking track record with these guys than WWE does. It's stunning. But I mean, assuming that Raw Underground is not just a vehicle for Bobby Lashley or a weird fucking like ego thing for Shane McMahon, which is, you know, that could be a thing too. Assuming that it's something that's going to be built into the shows, I think it'd be a great way to spend the third hour. Because we've all
would break up the mundane, that's for sure.
Yep. We've all said that 3 hours is way too much wrestling. Especially on a Monday night. If you want to have a 3-hour pay-per-view or like a 3-hour, even like a Saturday night special, a Saturday night slam or whatever, Saturday night main event, 3 hours, okay, that's cool. But like a 3-hour Raw is just too fucking much.
Yeah, but we're not getting 3 hours of wrestling.
How much time? Very few wrestling, but you know.
Right. So how much of that 3 hours is actual wrestling, and how much of it is vignettes and talkies and bullshit and interviews and?
Well, they're here for the talkies this week.
So, let me ask you a question. We've been talking about like these kind of like I don't knows about all this, and then the faction of the Hurt Business and everything. But let's look at the positive about Raw Underground. Beef, you said there's a lot of people you know and a lot of people you don't know. What are the odds of this being an excellent vehicle for young talent to get over, so that because this is a main roster like proper thing, I mean, this could be used really as a good jumping off point and a good way to develop some talent that might have gotten lost in the din of NXT. You know?
Assuming that they don't just use it to fucking jack off Bobby Lashley, yeah, I agree. Because we all know how it's going to go. They're going to jack Bobby Lashley off for 6 months, put him in a match with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar's going to dominate him, and then you just fucking wasted 6 months of everybody's time.
And then Raw Underground goes away without any explanation.
Yep, it's gone. Because Bobby Lashley's not really a badass. Because Brock Lesnar once again proves that he, even at his age, even at his veteranship, even at the fact that he works fucking 4 times a year, proves that he's a bigger badass than anybody else in the roster.
And a bigger draw. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, and you can debate that, whatever. That's fine, but that is what Vince and Co. are screaming at you. Hey, this guy who you never see can show up and destroy anybody at any time. That's why we never bring him on. That's why he's a special attraction. Because if we brought him on every week, he'd just be killing fools every week. So, good or bad, that's the message that they're sending.
Well, I want to stick up. I want to stick up for Vince and Co. a little bit here on that one aspect. If people didn't pop for Brock Lesnar the way they do, if people didn't buy all the merch those 4 times a year when Brock Lesnar shows up, I'm willing to bet it wouldn't be that. I'm willing to bet that Brock Lesnar wouldn't be that big of a deal. But he gets the pops. He gets the crowd reaction. I'm willing to bet every single time he shows up, his merch starts flying off the shelf. So, I think they realize what they have with Brock Lesnar. He's going to make the money. Bobby Lashley is not.
He's the one thing that they've done right the last probably fucking 15, 20 years. Yes. Brock Lesnar is the one guy that they built up right, and John Cena. Those two are the guys that they've nailed it on. Everybody else, they've been hot and cold and everywhere in between. But yes, to Poot's point, that's my concern, is that the the Raw Underground is a really neat thing. It could be used to break up the monotony of, bullshit Performance Center, which we're going to be stuck with. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, at least till fucking 2021.
I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if they moved Raw out of the Performance Center before 2021.
Outside of a special venue change, like we're hearing for maybe SummerSlam, potentially Atlantic City or a beach or a boat somewhere, outside of those special and obviously the cinematic matches, like that's what we got for wrestling now. That and Daly's Place, which again, no hate, but Daly's Place is a way better venue than the Performance Center. Which is ironic because, the Jags, I guess, put a lot of money into the Daly's Place, so I can't say anything about that. But
so I want to go back and touch just on a little bit of my doubt on what Poot had said. I'm not trying to shit on you, Poot. This is just my pessimistic outlook on WWE shining through. So it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with my pessimism involving WWE. When it comes to elevating new talent, I feel like NXT really does that, really kills that. We see all this new talent being cultivated in NXT. They spend a lot of time building up new guys until they either A, get their wieners out and get in trouble, or B, go to the main roster and get dumped on. So I would be pleasantly surprised. But again, my pessimism says, even if this Raw Underground highlights new talent and new guys that we don't see, it's not going to go any further than there. Maybe they'll show up on NXT and become built up there, but I highly doubt that they're going to be highlighted on this Raw Underground and then used the right way on one of the WWE's main programming shows. I just think that they're going to be mid-card cannon fodder. Mid-card at best. At best, cannon fodder. I honestly do. Because look at the opportunities they've had to cultivate new talent that they bring up from NXT, who already have a big following. Joe,
but Vince doesn't see that though. Vince looks at NXT like, the minor leagues. Regardless of whether it has his own episodic show on USA now, Vince probably still feels like it's the minor leagues. Like, hey, give me this guy so that I can train him. I mean, look, the guys that have been on the main roster the guys and gals who have been on the main roster are finally starting to get through. Fucking Asuka, for example. Took her how fucking long to catch on. Corbin is another one. So Vince does not capitalize on these guys. McIntyre even didn't get like a high, quick push. Vince doesn't view these guys as like commodities the minute that they, hit NXT and they're big over. I want to say that what happened with Survivor Series last year and Royal Rumble this year helped him realize that maybe the NXT guys and gals have more of a following than he thinks. But I don't believe it with the treatment of Bianca Belair and Shayna Baszler, two of NXT's greatest talents, I think, the last couple of years. Sitting around being fucking wasted on TV now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Matt Riddle started hot, and we'll see where he goes from here. But I'm guessing that Matt Riddle's probably going to be in a feud with Corbin, which could go one of two ways. Either Corbin doesn't get over and continues his middling in the mid card, or Riddle doesn't get over. So
the thing with Corbin, and I've said this before on previous podcasts. If Baron Corbin was more like his actual personality, I honestly think he'd be over like Rover, as they used to say. Really, because if you ever watch him on anything where he can just relax and be himself, you're like, I like this guy. I'd have a beer with him. He seems like a cool dude to hang out with.
Do you think they need to make him a face? Would that give him that opportunity?
If they allowed him to be smarmy, if they allowed him to be more like himself, I think he would be able to get over as a face. I do. Do I think it's the right move? No. But the problem is Corbin has to really double down on his personality. Right now, he seems like that nerdy kid who's trying to be a badass. And that doesn't work. He's got to be more of an arrogant shit. You know what I mean? He has to be either more of an arrogant guy, or you know what? Hell, throw him back to his original gimmick in NXT, the Lone Wolf. I like that, dude. Do you remember when Baron Corbin first started showing up beef and we were like, oh, I like this guy? Mm-hmm. His face looks like a sad man who realized, oh, there's no more chicken fingers on the buffet. But that aside, when he first came out and they were booking him hard and booking him as a monster, he was believable.
Whenever that all stopped is whenever all the memes started coming out with his damn stomach and the face on it.
Yeah, I know, but
and I mean, we're to blame for that as anybody else. We had our fucking laughs at it. And I'm as out of touch as Vince is, I'm sure that somebody he works with has the finger on the pulse of social media and be like, oh man, this guy's a fucking laughing stock.
Oh, Vince loves social media. I'm sure they know.
And they put him in a shirt and a tie, and they said, all right, you're going to be Constable Corbin now. And now they put him in a fucking robe and you're going to be King Corbin now. Until you lose the weight, fatty.
That's the thing is he wasn't. Do you want to know why he looked that way?
Because he's built like an athlete. Because he was a football player. He was a lineman.
He was a football player. He was way bigger than he was when he dropped weight to wrestle. And what happens when you drop weight that pretty quick?
Yep.
Your body doesn't have time to adjust to it, so then you get sad torso.
It'll go south. Yep. But so I just feel like Vince McMahon does not value NXT the way that we think he should, and that's why all these NXT talents that come up and they're hot for a hot minute. Remember Enzo and Cass? Remember how great they were for a cup of coffee?
Oh,
and then they had a fucking remarkable NXT career. If you would have asked me, 6 years ago who I thought would be the most successful from NXT, Enzo and Cass would have been high on the list. Personal whatnot, notwithstanding, of course, they're both kind of shitbags in real life, so, that never helps. But all that withstanding, they came up, they were hot as hell, and Vince was like, all right, go out there and lose a bunch of matches. Don't worry, boys. We'll build you back up. It's kind of like the Zack Ryder effect, hey, you're a great face. We can just continue to feed you to bad guys, and people will continue to eat up that maybe someday you're going to win the big one. As much as I'd love to say, yeah, man, Raw Underground could be a great vehicle for that kind of thing. I think it's kind of pie-eyed, which I would expect nothing less from you, Poot.
I'm just trying to say, man, like, you know, this shit's got to turn around eventually. Like, I mean, it like even just to where it just stops being. Stop interrupting me. You've been yammering beef. God, I love you.
I often think the people on the Titanic seeing the ice cube or seeing the iceberg coming at them, going,
"Oh, just fucking keeps going."
We're gonna veer off course sometime, right? Like we're gonna fix this, right?
Oh,
well,
hit it.
Sorry, my point was, beef, that even if it just there's a threshold of shittiness where it stops, I'm okay with that. Like
I interrupted you, Pooh, to make a good analogy, which would have been no good at the end of your point, you bastard. But go on, please.
I know, and that's why I got trouble. My point is that like at a certain threshold, they have to, like, it's gonna get to a point where it's just so ridiculous, and they're doing shit that's so against what the fan base wants that they're gonna have to listen again. You have these brief, like at the peak of a bell curve, where WWE will listen to its fans, and things are always good, and then they go, okay, we can start doing what we want again, and then it hits a bottom threshold, and then it swings back up. It's just this constant, like, waveform of, and if they just listened to what fans reacted to and what fans are saying and just did that, they'd make all the fuck you money in the universe.
So here's the thing,
that's the problem. That's the problem, is that they don't want to listen to what the fans want. Vince McMahon wants to see what Vince McMahon wants. And it doesn't matter what the fan base thinks. It's all about what Vince McMahon thinks. Harken back to Daniel Bryan. How long did that yes movement have to go on before they finally gave in? And you could tell it felt like a reluctant giving in, because they had him face Batista and Randy Orton, then he had to face Triple H, and then he finally won. It felt like a reluctant, like, okay, we're going to give in, but I don't know. I don't think Vince McMahon gives a crap what the fan base cares about and what they want. It's all about what he believes is going to work.
Here's the only thing that I'll say. You know, and we hear guys like Bully Ray, Jim Cornette, the talking heads of the industry make this kind of illusion, and it's a good, solid point. Whenever we, us three specifically, but, you know, the smart marks, talk about placating to the fans, we're talking about placating to us. However, we have to realize that we are a small portion of the fan base. And that, for the most part, WWE has succeeded for as long as they have because they know how to hit the biggest parts of the fan base. Now, that's not always going to resonate. Sometimes it's going to be a big bowl of shit. But as long as the biggest portion of the fan base will continue to consume, they're going to believe that nothing is going wrong. But I think we are in a position right now, Poot, as you so eloquently put, that shit is getting so bad. Reportedly, Vince was just an absolute fucking curmudgeon last Friday. Apparently there was a conference call that he kept, like, the writers for Raw in for like 4 hours and fucking belittled the hell out of them. And that reportedly he was unhinged at Monday's show. That he was kind of like just in a foul mood. Like, Vince is recognizing that the ratings are in the dumper. He doesn't know how to fix that. And he doesn't understand how to fix that. And more importantly, he has built a company full of people that, for the most part, don't know how to respond to Vince in a good manner, in a respectful manner, yet a firm manner, to say, no, this idea is a pile of crap. Hunter, the Triple H, has basically dug into the tunnels of NXT and said, you know what? I'm just going to stay here fuck the main roster. I'm just gonna do my thing here. I'm gonna take my accolades as the fucking smartest man in the world here because I'm working and I'm just doing, man. He's just letting it happen in NXT, and that's why it's successful. But, like, for the most part, Vince has created a company full of yes men who are afraid to say no to him. And whenever you have a bunch of people placating your ego, eventually shit's gonna turn bad.
That's been happening for a while, though.
I mean, hell, Gerald. What was it? Gerald Briscoe and Pat Patterson. They were the Stooges, effectively. Yeah. Yes, men. It was a gimmick at one point.
And when somebody doesn't agree with you, you just cut them loose. Look at Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was bringing lots of energy and new ideas to Raw. What happened to those new ideas and those new wrestlers, those new energies? Guys like Ricochet, Alexander, Samoa Joe, gone. Snuffed out within a couple of weeks. Vince said, Paul, it's my way or the highway. Paul said, I don't need this. Vince said, we don't need you. Paul said, fine, I'll take a big fat paycheck to be the guy that comes out with Brock Lesnar. See you in 6 months.
I just...
So, I mean, Vince McMahon has dug his own grave at that point because he's the one that has surrounded himself with these people that are just going to yes and him.
Yep.
Like, that's what it's going to be.
Glad-handing nobodies, you know?
I mean,
people with real talent are being cut loose.
Nothing against these people, though, because, let's face it, if you're in this industry as a backstage person, as a writer, you're going to want to go where the money is. You're going to want to go to WWE. You have the opportunity to go to like an Impact or a Ring of Honor, yeah, but as a writer, someone who isn't getting TV time, someone who isn't getting merch sales, you need to be able to make that paycheck. And I try, as much as I crap on WWE, I put myself in the writer's shoes. If I'm a guy who is in the WWE as a writer, that's my job. That's what's paying my bills. So, am I going to say, okay, look, I'm going to stand up to Vince McMahon and tell him I don't like this and this is not going to work as professionally as I possibly can? Or are you going to yes and him to keep your job, to secure that paycheck, to be able to pay your bills and live your life?
Well, I mean, you're going to...
I can't shit on them for it.
Come on, we've all... Admit it. Admit it. I think maybe it's just me because, again, I'm Switzerland. We all, at one point in our life, have yes and a boss.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you work for one of those bosses who you know is either going to sandbag your career or career advancement, or is just going to flat out punish you, whether it's some sort of punishment or being fired, yeah, you're going to yes and him. You need that job. You need that paycheck. You're going to do it.
And again, like you said, with the pay that they get, you can't fault them.
No.
Because
where are you going to go? You're going to get fired from WWE and go to Impact? Well, you're going to take a massive pay cut.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the difference with Impact and even AEW or anywhere else is that you don't travel nearly as much. And I don't know, do writers have to pay for their own lodging?
I'm sure. If the fucking talent has to, I'm sure that the writers
No,
too.
man. Office and backstage workers, shit works way different with them.
Well, so here's what I'll say. I mean, we've all been in situations where you're working and you either have that boss where you know that you have to say yes and just keep your head down for a couple months until that boss is gone, advancing to another fucking position to make somebody else miserable. But we know that shit goes way better when you have that boss that works with you. As opposed to working for them, you're working with them.
Oh, and yeah. I mean, that's common sense.
This is 100% years of nepotism, complacency, and sheer buffoonery. This is, this is reaping what you sow. This is the fucking hog coming home, man. Like this is what you get whenever you placate the ego of a crazy egomaniac who's in his fucking geriatric state and is fucking blowing a blood vessel every fucking 3 hours and yelling at people who have nothing to do with the fucking product being as bad as it is, that it's all on him. It's shitty that he can do that, and it's shitty he can get away with that. Fuck Vince McMahon.
Well, when you're the boss of bosses, yeah, you can get away with that.
Literally the boss of bosses.
Yeah, until there is someone, board of directors, whoever, Vince McMahon has to answer to somebody. Until they get fed up enough, and it's just like that with any other company, until the board of directors get fed up enough with the way that the product is going to come in and start heavy-handing things.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Like, the board of directors don't care about the product. They don't care about the ratings. You know what they care about? Money, 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 money!
Well, yeah.
Money!
So
and
until the money starts to suffer, they're not going to step in.
Because
the product can suffer all the... Yes.
Yeah, you Fox deals, you have golf money deals. Like, the WWE as a thing, as a fucking trinket, is worth more than the fucking product that we see on a Monday and Friday night. As a what would Poop say? A googog, So the fucking Saudi prince can sit there and go, look what I'm doing. So the Fox can say, look what we have. So the USA Network can continue to promote our highest rated show, and for the course of fucking 57 years. The branding is what's selling the product right now, not the product.
Yep.
They've been riding that for how long? How many years?
It's true.
Seriously. We're just seeing it. It's now the absolute focus. It was more of the undercurrent of like, well, at the end of the day, it's WWE. Now it's just like, okay, this is you're going to watch this because it's WWE.
I look back and I feel silly about complaining about the product, 10 years ago. When we had John Cena, Randy Orton at their primes, we had Triple H coming and going, we had The Undertaker coming and going, Batista. Like, yeah, you know what? There was a lot of problems then too. But I think the problem was that we were recoiling from two great eras back to back. The Attitude Era, followed by the Ruthless Aggression Era, back to back, two just knockout dynamo eras. And then you get saddled with like a 10-year schlump, But looking back at that versus now, and yes, again, I understand that it is this whole year has a fucking asterisk on it. Because, no matter who wins the NBA playoffs, no matter who wins the NHL playoffs, no matter if there's an NFL season, college football season, WWE, it doesn't fucking matter. This whole year has an asterisk on it because they're going to look back and say, oh, that was 2020. Oh, that was the COVID year. Hopefully we can say COVID year singular. So yes, I understand that this is a very unique situation, but even before the COVID hit, man, like, this was not really going any place new and exciting. It was just kind of existing.
It hasn't gone any place new and exciting for a couple of years.
Oh, longer than that, man. Like, we've seen bright stars, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, that like make a big impact, and you're like, man, they're fucking finally getting it right, and then poof, they're gone. It's Balor's another one. It's so frustrating. So, let's not be frustrated anymore. Let's talk about something that's even worse. Let's talk about homicide.
Oh.
And I don't mean the wrestler.
Oh, the wrestler homicide.
Barbara Bush killed a guy.
I think you're talking about Marty Jannetty. But
Marty Jannetty killed a guy.
If you believe his rantings, which who knows if it's just a fucking publicity stunt, easy for me to say, to get, longer lines of people at his table at the fucking, like, Sheraton to sign autographs. Like, who knows if it's just a publicity stunt to get his name out there again. But, if you were to believe what Marty Jannetty's posting on social media, he basically admitted to, quote unquote, making a guy disappear, and that the authorities could have, quote unquote, checked the Chaka River.
No.
I can't pronounce it, but basically
Chattahoochee,
saying,
dum-dum.
I don't think it's Chattahoochee.
It's Chattahoochee.
Is it really? Son of a bitch, I'm a dummy.
Chattahoochee River.
Anyway, so yeah, he basically
Mama.
came out on Facebook and said, "Hey, man, I killed a guy and I got away with it, so haha." And it's like, I don't think that's the way that things work, bro. Like, what a fucking train wreck that guy is.
Let's just stop for a quick second and think about the probability of this. I don't know many 13-year-olds outside of a gang structure, like a regular guy who's just 13. Because that's when he said he did it, right? When he was 13 years old?
Yeah, 13, 15, something like that.
Okay, so a teen. Yes, it's possible. Yes, it's probably been done before. But if you think about it, how many 13 to 15-year-olds are killing people and having the brain power, savvy, and wherewithal to get away with it? I'm just looking at the
fucking Marty Jannetti. Certainly not this fucking guy.
I'm just looking at the probability. Yes, it's possible. It could happen. But what was the story? This dude took him out back of a place and was basically about to, like, what, rape him?
Yeah, have his way with him, right.
And he, a 13 to 15-year-old, Marty Jannetti, which, let's face it, Marty Jannetty's no Brock Lesnar. I mean, he's not a huge dude. And at 13 to 15 years old, if a grown-ass man is going to take you out back somewhere to have their way with you, you've got to be pretty savvy to, A, pull one over on this person and kill them, and then also, B, to be able to dispose of said adult body by yourself in a manner that, in how many years, no one has known. Now, TV is a lot different than reality. I mean, it's harder than you think to dispose of someone and completely get away with it unscathed.
Is it Ransom?
Yes.
Okay.
Who is not going to miss this person? So think of this logically. I know we're getting outside the box, but bear with me. Think about it logically. Somebody, somewhere, knew this dude. This wasn't this guy taking Marty Jannetti out back of a barn or a private home. This was a hotel, public space. Yeah, so there would have what?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So there would have been witnesses at some point that said, "Oh, this dude that has gone missing, that the police, I'm sure, would be able to trace back to his last known location. He was with this 13 to 15-year-old person. I'm sure that there is someone who would have seen that. And in a police investigation, they're going to be able to track that down and talk to that person and say, hey, it was reported that you were in the presence of this individual who is now missing. Someone is going to report this dude missing."
Well, see,
no matter how much of a sleazebag you are, if you are going to take a 13 to 15-year-old out back and have your way with them, you're going to know somebody. Someone is going to know you, and someone is going to know that you're no longer around.
Okay, so
this screams of horseshit.
All this does is just prove the point that no one ever, at any point, has cared what Marty Jannetti has ever done.
Well, that's a very salient point.
Oh, Poot, I love you. That's the fucking zinger of the night. You are not wrong, my friend. He is the fucking definition of Mr. Cellophane.
Like, oh, look at you making the musical references. Dude, this is what happens when Poot's in a good mood. He makes fun of people who supposedly killed someone.
Now, that is...
It's
I
super
don't know.
fucky is what it is.
It is. No, okay. And again, regardless of where you are in your life, what bad place you are, if you have a small modicum of brain cells, how are you going to go on the internet?
Careful. Let's not give Marty Jannetty. Don't give Marty Jannetty too much fucking credit here now.
Well, okay. But still, though, you have to be out of your gourd to take to social media to admit that you basically offed somebody, dumped them in a river, name that river, and not think that there's going to be any blowback. There's absolutely going to be something that comes of this. So either A, he didn't do it, and it's a publicity stunt, and it's all about getting his name out there, or B, you're going to admit to this on social media, and now someone's going to look into it. If nobody was looking for this guy before, everybody is going to be looking for this guy now.
I mean, that's a pretty big offense, right? Falsifying a crime, right? Like, you can't just, go out there
There
and
are
make
so
claims.
many offenses in this. Not only is it murder, but it's disposing of a corpse.
Well, I'm saying on the chance that you're right, which have a lot of great points. Like, if Jannetty didn't actually kill somebody, if he's just trying to get the fucking Jannetty hype train stirred up for, who fucking knows what, who fucking knows what, my God, that's a federal offense, right? Like, you can't just be like, hey, man, I killed a guy, have a bunch of police officers go and investigate, waste hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money, only to go, you know what, just kidding.
So
Would
I
you
think,
really
I think
put
the
that
difference
past? Would you put that past Marty Jannetty though? Would you?
No.
Look though. There's a difference though between posting something like that on social media and going to a police station or a police officer or someone in law enforcement and openly admitting, like, this is a confession. I did X. That you're falsifying a police report. It's a false confession. You're wasting taxpayer time and money and police resources in that aspect. If you just post something on social media, that's just you being a bonehead. So I don't, unless it's some sort of terroristic threat. Like, if I went onto social media and said, hey, in 1927, I set this building on fire and roasted hot dogs and got away with it. That might trigger someone to go, whoa, did this actually happen? Maybe we should take a look and see if said building, or if a building in said location was set ablaze in that year. If that's the case, that's the police initiating an investigation on their own. So I think there's a difference between confessing something to law enforcement and then posting something on social media. Not smart either way in any aspect of it. Whether you did it or not, it's not smart to do something like that. But I don't believe it's good. I don't believe what he did, if it's falsified, is a crime. And
like Poot so eloquently put, no one really cares about Marty Jannetty anyway. They would just laugh at him and go, look at how pathetic this guy is. And he'd be like, yep,
the problem,
that's my life.
The problem with Marty admitting this now is that he has said some outrageous shit over the years. Like on social media.
I don't think he's right in the head.
No, absolutely not.
And going back on what you said there, Poot, he's said some outrageous things in the past. If you look at his track record, it makes this statement much less believable and doesn't really give a lot of credence to what he's saying. Now, if he would have been a guy that, I had a bummer of a wrestling career, went on to have a healthy, productive life, and then out of nowhere came out and admitted this, okay, maybe there's some credence to it. But with all the bonkers, magonkers things that Marty Jannetty has done and said over the years,
I don't think Marty Jannetty could spell healthy or productive at this point.
He can. It's METH and Marajuana.
I was going to say Vicodin, but I don't know if he could spell Vicodin.
No.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely can. Heroi. There you go.
Oh, boy. But, yeah, I mean, so that's if so, let's just, let's assume he's telling the truth. Like,
love that chuckle there.
He says with a straight
dumb?
face.
Is he dumb? Like,
yeah,
or is he just seeking attention? From because it looks like this was involving a woman. He made some other comments that sounded like it was involving a woman. Like he was bringing this up to be like, to say to a girl, hey, I've done this before, so don't, blah, blah, blah. Not like it was a threat, but it came off weird.
Oh, it sounds pretty threaty to me.
Yeah, right. So, like, I killed a guy and got away with it. If I say that to somebody...
I killed a guy. I killed a guy with a trident.
It seems a little threaty.
A lot of people like to fucking air dirty laundry on social media. Like, I have a Facebook friend who's gonna go unnamed. He he posts about like his girlfriend locking him out of the apartment and how his girlfriend left him and this, that, and then like fucking the other day he posted about them being back together. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, social media, some people just don't know how to social media well. And yours truly is guilty as one can be sometimes. But I mean, like, this is like taken to another level. So I just think that some people don't understand how it works so well, and then they get into situations. I think that Marty Jannetty might be in one of those situations because of all the other aforementioned demons he's had in his life. His brain is probably between the consistency of mashed potatoes and gack. So,
I would have to think, though, that something this big would have come out a while ago. Like, he sat on this secret, quote-unquote secret, for this long. Now suddenly you're going to throw something up on social media about it. You would have gotten hammered, drugged up, a combination of both, if it's Marty Jannetty, many times in his life. And this secret never slipped until now.
I mean, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
To keep. You murder a guy and you keep it secret for these many years, and now suddenly you post it on Facebook to threaten somebody else.
Yeah, he probably.
No, man. If it would have came out in a text, I'd be much more apt to believe it. Like, if he sent a private text to someone, basically threatening them, saying, like, hey, I got rid of somebody when I was 13, and then that person took that text public, okay, I'd give that more weight. But to blast it on a social media platform where the entire dang world can see it, no. You're just being crazy and saying stuff to get your name out there, and it's working.
It's true.
I truly believe that. I truly believe that he's throwing it out there to get his name out in the zeitgeist again. And look what's happening. It's working. It's all over wrestling news, wrestling forums. We're talking about it. The news is probably covering it. I don't watch the news because it's stupid. But I'm sure the news somewhere, especially in that local area where this supposedly took place, is covering it. So yeah, his name is getting out there again. He's getting fame. It's what all neglected sociopaths do. They do something outrageous, dangerous, or hurtful to get their name out there and to be recognized. And I believe that's what Marty Jannetty is doing.
Nope. Yeah, I mean, that's, I believe you'd be correct because, yeah, I mean, all common sense dictates that, yeah, a 13-year-old's probably not going to take down, like, your average size adult. Nor are they like even one that has like a great brain on them is not going to be able to get away with the crime.
No.
And again, this is Marty Jannetty that we're talking about. Never scored high on any aptitude test nor any other tests other than, maybe like an HIV test. But, yeah, and I think this is like the swinging door on the other side of this, the whole like speak out movement. Like now you have fucking morons like claiming bullshit that never happened just to get another 15 minutes of fame. Yep. And if that's the case, then this dude deserves everything coming to him, which I'm sure will be fast and swift.
I feel like this is the death rattle of Marty Jannetty's career. One last ditch effort to get publicized and noticed. Like, this is the Hail Mary.
I see that. I
Now, on the other hand, if this dude killed somebody, now that he's outright openly mentioned it and spoke of where he disposed of the body, I'm sure if it happened, even with this amount of time going by, someone is going to remember something. Some sort of evidence is going to come out. You would have to think. Like, if the police look into it and it actually happened, I imagine they're going to find something. Some sort of corroborating evidence to say, oh, maybe not there's a definite that this happened, but, oh, there's a distinct possibility that this might have happened. You know what I mean? If this didn't happen at all, they're going to find nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, I mean, we'll see. This is the opening salvo of it, for sure.
The opening salvo of the latest in the Marty Jannetty sad bullshit story.
Oh.
I read someone posted the meme about the Dark Side of the Ring guys seeing this Marty Jannetty thing, being like, "Yep, here we go."
Oh yeah, I saw that same one. Yep. Rubbing their hands, laying their chops, being like, "Oh, Dark Side of the Ring episode.
Here we go." I mean, fucking Marty Jannetty could be an entire season of Dark Side of the Ring, for God's sakes.
And that's a whole other aspect of it. Is not only are the police going to look into this, but journalists, the people that are producing and working on the Dark Side of the Ring, they're now going to look into it independently. So either someone's going to find something, or nobody is going to find anything. And I just feel like it's going to be easy to figure out whether or not this dude is lying about it or telling the truth.
Indeed, I agree. We'll see. Let's pivot.
What did you bring up at the beginning of the episode before we started? You started to say something, and then I cut you off. I was like, "No, intro."
Something about something. Well, it was something that I would prefer to talk about off camera. So, next topic.
The debate.
Yeah, you were talking about the debate.
What? Oh, the debate. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You were trying to do a transition, and I'm stupid. So, you guys, let's talk about the greatest debate ever. Since I got, just make this less awkward. Beef, go.
This will probably be, to quote our buddy Zach, this will probably be the best debate that we see in 2020.
Wow.
If you haven't seen, if you haven't seen Jericho v. Orange Cassidy, moderated by Eric Bischoff, do yourself a favor, go out and explore it. AEW continues to fucking hit it out of the park every single damn week. Great wrestling content, great story content. And like the stuff that is, more sizzle than steak is absolutely phenomenal as well.
So this is a scripted debate, or this is a shoot debate?
Oh yeah, no, the scripted 100%.
Oh, okay. And how is Eric Bischoff involved?
He was the moderator of the debate, which I guess
was this on an episode of Dynamite?
Yes, it was on last night's episode of Dynamite, which I guess meant that he could also decide who won or lost the debate, which is weird. But okay. It was really good. You know, you look at it and you're like, oh, I get it. It's a funny gimmick because Jericho's a talker and Orange Cassidy doesn't talk at all, and yada yada yada. And they went for the low hanging fruit a little bit, and I think Jericho actually even brought it up. Like Bischoff asked Orange Cassidy a question, and Jericho was like, "Bischoff, you idiot! Like this guy doesn't talk." And it was
Bischoff, you idiot.
Bischoff asked him this question about like the tides receding or something like that, and the ocean density, and yeah, Jericho's like, "You Bischoff, you idiot! He's not gonna answer you." And Orange Cassidy swings the fucking mic around, and he's like, "Shut up, Chris. Chris, shut up." Like real fucking calm, real cool, you know, as you would expect him to say. And he went on to fucking pontificate about this like ocean levels dropping like super eloquently for like a minute and a half. Jericho's sitting there, mouth agog. So literally, Orange Cassidy's first fucking spiel on Dynamite was about like something that had no bearing on anything, and it was fucking great.
That dude, it's exactly what it needed to be. Like that's the beauty of a character like Orange Cassidy. And he is now proof positive, in my opinion. I'm sure there are other examples, but in my opinion, he is the new standard for proving that comedy wrestlers can be legit. Like,
but you gotta work hard.
Oh, like, yeah, but that's the thing is that he does, man.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. But you can't just go out there. You know, back in the old Armory days when we go to see KCW. Some of my favorite matches were with Kato and Seabass because they would like work us, where they would like goof off in a match. You know, they didn't have to do crazy, stupid like triple Canadian destroyers off of an 80-foot ladder to entertain us. They just had to do something hilarious, and it's just the whole attitude of working smarter, not harder. And I mean, you just got to know your niche, man. I love Orange, and when they first brought him in, I'm like, okay, that's a great move. And then they kind of made him the best friend's mouthpiece, ironically. And I'm like, oh, that's a great move. You know, get this guy exposure, get him out there without putting an emphasis on what he can or cannot do. And like the slow burn is really working. Now, next week they have a match. Orange Cassidy and Jericho do. Jericho won the first match. I'm thinking Orange gets this match next week, and I think that they're gonna have a rubber match at All Out. So
rubber match.
Yeah, I just
define that for the audience. I don't know that we've ever defined that before.
Oh, there's a greener than grass.
There you go. That's the term I've not heard used in a long time. A rubber match is whenever they have multiple matches and the series is tied, 1 apiece, 2 apiece, whatever, and the final match of the series is the rubber match, which determines the ultimate winner of the feud. So
very good.
It pains me to say it, but I don't know that Jericho can take losing to Orange Cassidy, nor do I think that Orange Cassidy needs to beat Jericho. I think that Orange can take the loss. Not next week on Dynamite, I think he has to win. But I think that ultimately, I think Jericho has to win overall because of who Jericho is and who Orange Cassidy is. That's
I think you have it backwards. Jericho can eat all the pins in the world, and do you understand what that would do for Orange Cassidy? Like, yeah, he's a goof, and there's a lot of stuff like that. But whenever he actually works, like, whenever the other stuff falls away, he's really fucking good in the ring. And I think, honestly, because he has that quiet cool about him, along with the goof stuff, I think his ceiling is really high. And I think getting a victory over Jericho would do wonders for him, and it would not do anything to hurt Jericho. Nothing. Honestly, nothing can hurt Jericho.
A quick aside, real quick. I think my favorite Orange Cassidy thing that I've ever seen, and I forget who his opponent was, but his opponent basically caught him in like a like the Boss Man Slam, the Abyss Slam, like, you know, the spinning side slam. But as opposed to slamming him, he basically rocked him to sleep.
Yeah. Oh, that was in what was it? What did they call that? Big Top Wrestling or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
And it was hilarious.
Yeah,
tucked him in.
Opponent, tucked him in. Like Orange Cassidy put his thumb in his mouth, and he, like, the crowd was all being like, they were shushing each other, and his opponent like slowly crawled over top of him and brought the ref over, and the ref counted real quietly, and Orange Cassidy managed to like kick out as he rolled over, and the opponent freaked out. It was good stuff, man. So here's the question, though.
That match is really fun. I might link that down in the description. It's a fun match.
Yeah, man. Do you believe that Orange Cassidy will ever be a main eventer at a pay-per-view for a main title?
I think right now. Are we talking ever or right now?
Based on his current trajectory. Yeah, based on his current trajectory with this gimmick, you said you see a high ceiling for him. Are we talking like a fucking like Diesel high ceiling or Razor Ramon high ceiling?
I think what we're talking is a situation where there's a match that's set for the AEW championship, and it's two people feuding, and then at the not 11th hour but 10th hour, Orange Cassidy gets put in, and now it's a triple threat, and everyone's like, no way they're gonna do it, and then Cassidy gets the belt in an upset. Does he hold it forever? No. Does he hold it for a while? Sure. But I honestly think at some point they put that belt on Cassidy, because then think of the directions you could go. You could leave him being that character and it would be over all the time. He's been running that character for a long time, and nowhere that he's been has it ever been tired. And
it's true. No, I could watch it.
It's
for
just
sure.
For some reason, it is like one of the most likable characters in the current zeitgeist of wrestling. Like, and so they they could let him just do his thing, and then eventually he loses the belt. You know what you could do then? You could put the belt on him and then have him grow an ego and have him be like, start being more vocal and start being kind of like a shit-eating heel. Not only will people be mad that he's a heel, but they'll be mad that now we don't get that Orange Cassidy anymore. Have him be a baller. Have him start wearing suits and sunglasses and cutting like shit-eating promos and just, you know, like doing that. And then he loses the belt and then eventually like goes away for a little bit, transitions back to the old school Orange Cassidy. You have so many different avenues that you could do with him. I mean, I think that his ceiling is that high that I think he could and maybe even should end up with that belt at some point, just to see the fun and then hear people like Jim Cornette have a stroke over it.
That might be what kills Jim Cornette. He may die.
If old fucking Pockets gets the AEW title, that mud show shit-eating belt motherfucker.
Yeah, that might kill him.
Sorry, wife fucker.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I have a real hard time seeing him as a legit main eventer. I thought that his match with Chris Jericho was probably the best and biggest of his career. I thought that he had some moments. And we'll see how it evolves, because, you know, like everything, man, it's a journey, and the destination is the journey, you know, not vice versa. So I don't know, man. I just maybe as a shit-eating heel, a fucking smarmy heel, I could see him holding that title. But as his current, like, face persona, I don't see it. I love Orange Cassidy. I don't want to make it seem like I just don't see him ever holding. Even, I mean, I can see the scenario you played out with the TV title, with the TNT Championship, but or even the 6-man titles whenever they get those. But not for the big gold one, man.
I don't know, man. I think it's strong enough to have that happen.
If I will say this, if there was one guy in 2020, 2021, 2022, etc., that could pull that kind of credo just on a character, it's Orange Cassidy. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, man. I just I love Orange Cassidy. I love the shtick. He always puts a smile on my face. Gosh, it's so tough. It's so tough to say I would not mind seeing Jericho lose to him. So the best part about it would be when Jericho loses, when he loses his ever-loving mind. I think because Chris Jericho has the best fucking reactions in the industry right now. He's fucking on point every fucking moment. God, I love Jericho. You know what else I love? NXT. You know what else I love about NXT? TakeOver 30. You know what I'm on the fence about loving for TakeOver 30?
Ooh!
Pat McAfee versus Adam Cole, baby.
You're on the fence about it.
I am. Part of me feels like it's really gonna swing, baby. Given who Adam Cole is, given who Pat McAfee is, Pat from Plum, I think it's gonna be a very fun match, and I think it has the absolute opportunity to be a barn burner. Again, if you didn't watch the ending of NXT last night, go back and watch it. Pat McAfee made it very clear that he was kind of healing up on him. Because the whole thing was that, him and Adam Cole met in private. They talked their differences aside, and that was that. And then Pat was out on commentary for NXT, and the Undisputed Era was facing Imperium for the tag team titles. And he kept making, cracking jokes about Adam Cole, and Adam Cole came over and was like, "Come on, man, I thought we worked this out. Stop it." And he threw some water on Pat, and he walks away, and Pat goes, "I guess he's an angry elf." And Cole just loses it and goes at him, and it's a big thing. They're holding each other back, and eventually, somehow Cole gets on the announce table, and Pat fucking lines up a big fucking punt kick and nailed him right in the head. And Triple H and Shawn Michaels are out there. They sold it well. I feel like this is going to be a good angle, man. It already is.
So what are you on the fence about then? It sounded like everything you said there was pretty positive.
Yes, but there's always a part of you whenever they're introducing a non-wrestling personality, and especially whenever they're introducing a non-wrestling personality with someone who wrestles so good that
so well English major.
I know, right? That makes you go, "Oh boy, I hope they know what they're doing." I think that on the stick, story-wise, I think this has already been one of the best booked angles I've seen in this year. And the way that they're working people, when Adam Cole blew up on the Pat McAfee show here a couple weeks ago, and we're all like, was that a work? Was it shoot?
I think it's
nobody
because
fucking knew.
I think it's because Adam Cole can, sell ice to a fucking Eskimo.
Pat played it off really well too. I think they're both doing an incredible job. Pat oozes charisma, man. Like everything he's ever done, like fucking big dick swinging. He is a gold mine of
It sounds
charisma.
like you have a big dick swinging. You got really loud when you started talking about Pat McAfee there, cowboy.
Sorry. Like he's I really dig Pat McAfee. I think that he is super smart about everything he does, and his branding. So, yeah, I you know this angle has been sold well on both ends, but eventually they're gonna have to get in the ring, and that's the part that I feel that I fear, because that's supposed to be the fucking apex. No matter how good the verbal sparring is back and forth, if the match doesn't live up to the hype, then what are we doing?
So, to play devil's advocate there on that aspect of it, Beef, how many times have we heard it said, if you're going to put somebody who's questionable in the ring, put them in the ring with someone who is amazing, and they'll be able to make that questionable wrestler look good. I mean, people said that about Shawn Michaels. He could wrestle a broomstick and make it look good. So even if Pat McAfee isn't good or great in the ring, how many, we've bonered out many times about Adam Cole's in-ring performance. Do you not think that it would be possible that even if Pat McAfee is a stinker, Adam Cole has such good ring work that he can make this match look good, if not great? Do you think that's a possibility, or do you think there's still a possibility that, well, no matter how good Adam Cole is, Pat McAfee could still stink it up?
Well, yeah, that's fair. Kenny Omega once wrestled a blow-up doll and like a small like Japanese girl. So
and did you ever watch those matches?
They look great, man. They fucking work. That's a fair point. So maybe I'm just getting all hypochondriac and worried about nothing.
I could see your fear if Pat McAfee was on the main roster and they put him in the ring against a Brock Lesnar or a Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, take your pick. I would have reservations then. But my confidence level in this match is pretty high, just based on the fact that Adam Cole is such a star performer that I'm willing to bet he can pull, and I'll even use the word great. I'm willing to bet that Adam Cole could pull a great match, out of Pat McAfee, even if Pat McAfee isn't good. I still think the match could be great, because Adam Cole would be able to sell even the worst moves.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, let's hope that McAfee's at least in the ballpark of believable, because, dude, if he's not like that, then Adam Cole selling will, instead of going, oh, he's making McAfee look good, it'll turn into, ooh, Adam Cole's making himself look weak here. Not saying that Adam Cole can't pull it off. It's just McAfee also has to put in the effort. And from what Beef has said, I mean, how much of in-ring work? Yeah, you have to be athletic and you have to know, you have to know at bare minimum the basics. But you also have to be able to have charisma and sell well. And it sounds like, from what Beef is saying, McAfee is going to be able to deliver that.
I have confidence in this match because it's taking place in NXT. I feel if this match took place in Raw, SmackDown, pick your WWE main roster pay-per-view, there could definitely be the possibility of it being a stinker, because I believe that at that point it would go more on his name value than his work. I don't know any of this for sure, but if I were to hedge a bet, I would say that because this is happening in NXT and Triple H takes such pride in that product. Pat McAfee has probably been in the ring training with Triple H, Shawn Michaels, probably Road Dogg, 3 great in-ring performers.
Obviously, even Adam Cole himself, because he's got to work with him.
He's probably already been in the ring training with Adam Cole, so they can get used to each other's style, get used to the way each other moves, and looks and sells and takes bumps. That wouldn't surprise me. I would honestly be shocked if before this match, Pat McAfee has never been in the ring practicing with Adam Cole. That would shock me. I feel confident that they're preparing him in a way that is going to, like, he's going to know what he's doing. He's not going to be anywhere near the caliber of a normal NXT wrestler, but he's going to know what he needs to do to make himself look good and to make Adam Cole look good. And I'm willing to bet Adam Cole is going to know what he needs to do to make Pat McAfee look good. I bet they're preparing out the wazoo for this match. And that gives me confidence.
I'm actually pretty excited about it because this is not something that NXT normally does. They don't rely on the outside spectrum, like this is definitely something that's going to pop ESPN and pop fucking Yahoo. Is that even a thing? Pop the big sports networks and things like, hey, former NFL punter Pat McAfee's in the ring. This is definitely something that's going to get, a lot of
it's going to get a lot of mainstream buzz.
Yes, exactly. It's going to generate some buzz, which is, I think, great for the brand. And if it's a good Adam Cole match, which means it's a fucking great match, then yes, point achieved. But so here we go again. Win or lose, what happens to Adam Cole? If he wins, okay, he just beat a fucking talking head podcaster. If he loses, what happens next? This, I think, could be Adam Cole's swan song on NXT. And I know we've been saying that for a long time, at least the better part of this year. But this feels like this is it, man. This is his curtain call.
You don't think this feud could be something that's drawn out over a number of events, multiple matches?
Maybe.
You think this is going to be a one-off?
Maybe, but I mean, the way that the Undisputed Era has kind of been on a losing streak, and that, they're not really involved in any big storylines right now.
You think this is it for them?
I do. To me, it feels like NXT is hey, you guys have done a great job. Thanks for helping us get the next generation of talent over. Now it's time for you guys to start your careers on the main roster, it's time for us to get some new blood in here.
No.
Oh no. Oh yes.
Oh no.
Coming soon to Raw Underground. Roddy Strong. Jobbing to Bobby Lashley.
Nope. Don't even say it. Nope.
Yeah, I mean,
death rattles.
I think that this could be good. I mean, Takeover's looking great. Cross versus Keith Lee for the title will be great. Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai, I think, could be a show stealer. It looks like we're going to get Rhea Ripley versus Mercedes Martinez, which will be a big sweaty girl match, which I think could be fun.
Yeah.
You have Pat McAfee and Adam Cole on there, and the North American title match, which, by the way, Dexter Lumis has been removed from due to an ankle injury. So,
man,
is there a replacement yet?
They've announced that the 4 people who don't get pinned or submitted in the qualifiers will have a singles match, and then the winners of those 2 singles matches will then have a match against each other to decide the 5th participant.
Okay.
Dude,
so let me speculate for a second here off of something that you said, Beef. Let's say this is it for the Undisputed Era. This is their Boot the Board Swan song. And Pat McAfee wins against Adam Cole. Does Pat McAfee continue as an in-ring performer? Or is this a one-off for him? So you go back to like announcing or whatever? Or does he continue in-ring? I have no idea what their plans are for him.
I'd love to see an in-ring, but I don't think he's into it and doing an in-ring. I think he might make a show every once in a while. But I mean, yeah, man, his gigs on the his gigs on the stick. I love seeing him on pre-shows. I love when he's dressed up and he's wearing fucking shorts. The best thing about Pat McAfee is that he has and always will give 0 fucks about what he's saying or to whom he's saying it to. And that's what makes this whole angle completely believable, is that Pat's like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking shoot from the hip, and everybody else be damned. Which is why I think they ended up pulling him from being a sideline announcer on the XFL, because he was too fucking real. And that's certainly a problem. You definitely got to know where your filter is. But as a talking head podcaster, he's a big guy on Barstool Sports. Look at fucking Howard Stern. Dude's got no filter, and he's one of the most successful jocks in the history of ever. So it proves that guys can win without filters. But no, I don't. I do not believe that he will be an active in-ring competitor. I don't think he'll ever see the light of day on a main roster doing anything, because his couldn't give a fuck less attitude would not fly on a Vince McMahon show. Not even for a little bit.
Huh.
Yeah. So you think this is just kind of a one-off sideshow? I
do. Something to get eyes on the brand. Which again, it's if reports are to be believed, this is going to be something outside the Performance Center. This is going to be maybe
cinematic?
Atlantic City. I hope not. I hope not. I don't know.
I don't want to see this as a cinematic match.
So cinematic can make a lot of, technically Edge versus Orton was a cinematic match. Even though it was a wrestling match through and through, it was the greatest wrestling match of all time. I'm of course, referring to. It was technically a cinematic match because it was taped and edited and everything. That may not be a bad idea, but if I had my druthers, man, like if they're going to do Atlantic City, and like an outdoor venue with like actual fans, I would love to see the whole show be fucking live. No pre-tape, no like do-overs. Like let's just go out and let NXT do what NXT does.
So, going in the vein of this is quite possibly a one-off for Pat McAfee, Adam Cole could technically win this match, because at that point you don't have to worry about a what's next for either one. Because if it's going to be a one-off for Pat McAfee, it doesn't matter what's next for him. It's a one-off. For Adam Cole, now he's got bragging rights. Not against a superior wrestler, but he can come out and tout how he put this guy down. This guy was running his mouth, blah, blah, blah. This is what happens when you run your mouth against Adam Cole, yada, yada, yada. Like, you know what I'm getting at? Mm-hmm. Like, he could brag about it for a couple weeks until whatever the next program he's going to be in comes to light. Do you not think that is a possibility? Or do you think really he's done? Like he's done in NXT?
So
there's nothing else for him to do.
I mean, honestly, I really don't think the Undisputed Era have much left, and it definitely feels like they're on their victory lap. Like, they're the retirement tour. Like, they're showing up, they're kissing faces, and all
shaking
that
babies
good stuff.
and
shaking babies. This because it feels like. So O'Reilly and Fish faced Imperium last night, and Imperium are always heels. So except for Walter. So obviously the Arrow was faces. Roddy Strong was kind of the face in the Gargano Bronson Reed match, although obviously Bronson Reed is a face. So like and Adam Cole, to me, in this feud, you have a guy who's Adam Cole who's being respectful for the most part, except for his blow up, obviously. But he's like, last night he went over to the commentary booth. He's like, "Come on, man! Like we hashed this out. Like we're good. What are you doing?" And Pat kept making the little incendiary comments. Pat was the one that ran back to the fray and kicked Adam Cole, when he was down. Like, Pat is the one that's really healing it up. So, to me, I think that this is, the Undisputed Era getting to be the faces that we've always wanted them to be, the fucking smarmy, we don't give a fuck faces. There's literally nothing left for them to do, man.
That angle doesn't have longevity, though?
I don't think it does, man. I really don't.
Pardon me.
You could invest in an Adam Cole Keith Lee feud or an Adam Cole Killer Cross feud, and have the Red Dragon continue to muddle in with the tag team division and have Roddy Strong kind of sniff around the mid card. But realistically, it just feels like we're rehashing the last 3 years.
Hasn't that been a Johnny Gargano staple, though? If you're talking about people that have done everything, hasn't that been Johnny Gargano for a while, though? He's still there,
yeah,
but what's left for him, though?
Yeah, but now he's in a new chapter, the heel Johnny Gargano, the shit-eating heel, him and Candice are both doing the healing it up thing, which I think is interesting, new, and exciting.
A face Undisputed Era isn't the same. That be?
They're the same.
Couldn't that be a new thing?
Yeah, but they're the same though. That's the thing. This, Johnny Gargano was a complete turn of character.
Oh, okay.
With the Undisputed Era, they're the same as they've always been. It's just that WWE NXT is now putting you in a position to actually want to root for them.
Okay.
Capitalizing on their natural Stone Cold a la 1997 heat.
That's swagger. Heat. It's that that certain it cool factor that they just have.
Correct. So
okay.
There's just there are some intriguing matchups, but like we've said the last couple weeks in the podcast, man, AEW is going to kill it for years to come because of the youth, because of the MJFs, because of the Darby Allins, because of the Jungle Boys. The young guys are going to be what put AEW over in the long term. NXT is starting to get there, to where they're bringing in guys who are lesser known on the indies, still have a little bit of an indie portfolio, but young guys that haven't had an established career. Guys not like Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens. Guys that are starting to flourish.
Maybe have 4 to 6 years of experience in the business.
If that, bringing them in from Evolve, and Evolve gets them pretty early. What's his name? ASOS? No. Oh, help me.
ASOS.
No, what's his name in Zelina Vega's feud or
Austin Theory?
Austin Theory, that's the one. The future, NXT is looking towards the future with a lot of these guys. Bronson Reed, the guy, the rugby player from NXT UK. even Imperium. You know, they're looking for new and fresh. Undisputed Era has owned NXT for 3 years. We have to recognize that part of a great story is the end. Like, at the end of Endgame, I didn't want to see Iron Man die. At the end of Endgame, I didn't want to see Cap go away.
Spoiler alert.
At the end
Like
of Endgame,
fucking spoilers,
I didn't want to,
beef.
It's been out for fucking a year and a half. Give me a break. But like at the end of Endgame, I didn't want to see my favorite heroes kind of like go walk into the sunset and, you know, ushering in a new wave of exciting heroes. But whenever my ass is in the seat watching, you know, the new heroes, I'm gonna be like, man, this is great. Not saying I'm gonna forget about the old guys. It's just that it's gonna be something new and fresh. The end is part of every story, and we often criticize guys, especially in wrestling, for sticking around way too long past their prime. They stick around, and all of a sudden, like, we're like, okay, when are they going away? Like this, Ric Flair, the prime example. We love Ric Flair, but man, like, dude, first of all, it's a fucking pandemic. You're like 89,000 years old.
Oh, well.
If somebody fucking sneezes on you, you're dead. Stay the fuck home. And also, you've given every drop of blood, sweat, and energy of your life to wrestling. Just stay away, Rick. You know, Hulk Hogan's another one. And even to me, I'm gonna be the outsider here.
Uh-oh.
Steve Austin, stay home, bro. Like, you had your time. Like, let's move on. I don't care if it's a ratings fucking cash grab for 1 week. You know, stay home. Let the product move on. So to me, the Undisputed Era needs to move on. They need to say this is it, and for better or for worse, go to new pastures.
For worse.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Thank you. I pride myself on not being wrong.
Oh, well, let's not say things we can't take back. Anyway.
Bottom line is, you know, we're gearing up here, you know, towards the end of the month for some really great shows coming up. NXT 30. SummerSlam has the potential to be, you know, pretty good. All Out looks to be a fucking banger again. So, yeah, I mean, you know, again, we're in the place where we can say, thank goodness we have some good wrestling to look forward to.
Huzzah! Wow, the listless. No,
I can't get excited about the Undisputed Era leaving NXT to the main roster.
Dude, I get it, but like,
we've hashed it out so many times, and I'm not going to get into it. But I can't get excited for it. I've gotten excited too many times for awesome NXT guys, and we all know what happens when they go to the main roster.
Absolutely, we do, and like that's the thing, is that it's kind of like, well, we knew this day would come. You know what I mean?
It's a matter of time before the Undisputed Era debuts on the main roster, and Adam Cole is fed to Randy Orton or Braun Strowman, or freaking pick your guy that he has no business being fed to.
Well, I mean, and unfortunately,
wait till the Rumble when he's fed to freaking Brock Lesnar.
Look, okay, I know Vince McMahon is stupid, but I really don't think he'll do something like that.
Okay. Look at all the guys that have been fed to Brock Lesnar.
You know what? Every time I've made that statement, I've always kind of like stood by it in my own head and gone, you know what? Yeah, I firmly, man. I said those words, and then a chill went down my spine.
Yeah, man.
Like,
because you've seen it. You've seen it happen.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time, and it's going to be one of those two guys. I stake my reputation. Well, I don't have a reputation, but
yeah,
I'll stake something on it.
Wait a minute. Okay.
I'll stake something on it.
Wait,
it's a matter of time before you see Adam Cole fed to Randy Orton or Brock Lesnar. Within a year of going to the main roster. He'll be fed to one of those two guys.
I just had a realization, by the way. So I seem to remember a time when we were talking about the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and we were talking about how, what was it, in a year from SummerSlam, will he still be relevant? And someone owes someone steak dinners?
It wasn't SummerSlam. It may have been SummerSlam.
It was before that.
No, because his debut was SummerSlam.
SummerSlam, yeah.
I remember someone.
No, it all kind of started circling the drain once he lost to Seth Rollins. That's whenever I don't know. We'll have to go back and look at some timestamps. But yeah, I definitely remember a steak dinner was wagered. But here's the problem. How do we consider success? Like, yes, he's probably getting the title back at SummerSlam this year, but...
Let me tell you this. And this is my argument to it. And I don't expect the three of you to agree on this, because the three of you have the most to gain by disagreeing with me if a steak dinner is on the line.
Oh, boy, here we go.
If you're going to be honest with yourself, please be honest with yourself on this one point. The Fiend lost clean to Goldberg.
Dude, you cannot lean on that. You can't.
So
the argument
Bullshit.
was
I can't lean on that.
The argument was no, hold on. Let me talk. The argument was that the Fiend Bray Wyatt would be basically put down in the doldrums of the lower mid card and would not be relevant and would be a joke. And as it stands, he doesn't seem to be any of those fucking things.
So I think it was very clear that we were discussing the fact that what's going to happen with the Fiend. Here's what I'll say. I don't think that this year has been kind to the Fiend. I think that Bray Wyatt has done an amazing job. But the Fiend
I'll agree with
itself, between the fucking kabumfuck of Hell in a Cell, and then, which, looking back, I really dug, because that was the start of the double turn for both those guys. But, like, the way that it ended, we all really had a problem with. And then losing to Goldberg clean.
Yep.
Since then, he hasn't done much. The Fiend hasn't. He kind of sort of beat John Cena at SummerSlam. And then... Or at WrestleMania, rather. And then we saw him come out of the Wyatt swamp after drowning Braun Strowman.
Well, let's pose this, then. Perhaps after the realization that they allowed Goldberg to wantonly throw around his weight, which he has no right to have backstage, and politic his way into a victory, perhaps they realized, wow, that was a fuck up. Let's go ahead and pull the Fiend back, feature Bray Wyatt, so when the Fiend does come back, it rejuvenates him as a threat.
Yeah, okay, I see that, but I mean, if we're talking about success, I don't know that I would necessarily put the word success with the Fiend. Yeah, Bray Wyatt, yes, for sure, 110%. The Fiend,
And this is coming from the guy who was the highest of all of us on the Fiend. I would say the beef was arguably when the Fiend debuted, he was the highest on.
I don't know, man. Who has the Funko?
Oh, okay.
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay.
Great argument there. I bought a doll.
I'm
clearly the fanboy.
I'm being facetious, dude. I remember sitting with our buddy Sean at a local watering hole here in Clearfield, and seeing the debut of the whole Firefly Funhouse thing, and we're like, we were not sold. We were like, what the fuck are they doing to Bray Wyatt, until the very end when he said, "Let me in." And I remember the day they debuted The Fiend, I remember audibly like yelping, like it was like a yawp, like the Who's on the flower that Horton carried. I yawped. I was so in from the second I saw The Fiend. My point is...
Yeah, your point is you want the steak dinner. I get that. Go on, don't get crabby. Go ahead.
My point is, when you have a champion that weasels his way out of everything, then you, it's kind of hard to make your point. I joke, of course, and honestly, Beef makes a salient point that I didn't think about. Because we're separating Bray Wyatt into these three faces of Wyatt, you have to think, what is success? What is this? But again, what would you rather have had done? Would you rather have the situation we have now? Now we're talking outside the steak dinner stuff. Would you rather have Bray Wyatt have The Fiend be more prominent and have it be featured the way it was, and have it go away, and have Bray Wyatt yet again fall prey to the whims of the writing and booking crew? Or would you rather have it be the situation we're in now, where The Fiend went away, and yeah, okay, maybe The Fiend looks weak in comparison because he's not around? I mean, to me, this is the kind of idea they do with a lot of other bigger talents, where they have them go away for a while after a major loss, and then a couple months later they have them come back, and people are over the moon, and they book them like $1 million. Just because you're not around doesn't mean you're not strong. It means you can come back stronger.
So I agree with that. I agree with the point that you're making. However, when I look back at some of the biggest phenoms in the industry, what happened? Did I go?
No, you're here.
Who went? Did Beef go?
I would guess. Let's see.
Oh.
Nope, he's muted. Uh-oh.
Fucking Discord always cuts me off when I'm in the middle of the fucking big, long, great diatribe. Damn you, Discord.
Oh, I didn't hear any of your diatribe.
Damn you to hell, Discord.
Give me your diatribe. The last thing I heard was...
Fuck it. It's over. It's over.
No, I want to hear it.
Okay, episode done.
No.
All right.
I know. I was just saying that I think that we need to. The jury's still out on The Fiend, whether The Fiend is a success or not. Let's get through SummerSlam 2020. Let's see how the Fiend Strowman match goes, and then we can probably speak more cumulatively about the year in the life of the Fiend.
There you go. I like it.
I do like that.
I like it.
I don't know. When I think of successes, when I think of when I try to put the Fiend into the category of success, that Hell in a Cell ending, it did that for me. The loss to Goldberg, no, I can't.
No.
I can't. I mean, this has nothing to do, this is not a Tiger Bomb Tom hatred of Goldberg. I don't think he's good, but I don't hate him like Tom. Tom despises Goldberg as a wrestler. I just don't
despise him as a fucking person.
Well, that's also true. Yeah, I believe that. But I don't know. When there wasn't even a wonky finish. When you had the Fiend lose clean to
I don't
a
know,
dude,
that jackhammer was pretty fucking wonky.
Yeah,
well,
that's also true.
Well, look, I'm not saying he lost. He didn't lose to a botch. When there was no finish.
Designed wonkiness.
Yes, it was just he lost to someone who's terrible, who came in for a cup of coffee and then left. I look at that picture, and my mind immediately goes to the CM Punk versus Triple H. Why? Then it goes to the CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar. Why? Then the CM Punk versus The Rock. That was the one I had the biggest problem with because he wasn't even a part-timer. He came back for a couple months to win the belt and drop it to somebody else. Didn't even drop it back to CM Punk. That, in my mind, right there, doesn't make CM Punk look successful. And on the same vein, seeing what The Fiend has lost to clean doesn't make him look successful to me.
I just feel
and it's not like they even took him from the top of the precipice, had him lose, and then go away for a while to come back strong. Like, that didn't even happen.
Give it SummerSlam. Give it SummerSlam. My other point is I'll give you this. You're absolutely not wrong. But the thing is, and we have said this before in the past, so this isn't just something that I'm throwing out there now.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about how the Blood Money shows, which one it is, we've said numerous times, that they are their own little world. They are a glorified house show. Have we not said that?
Yes.
Then, like, to me, okay, he lost to Goldberg in a place that everyone thinks Goldberg is still God because they're living in 1996. Like,
I still don't see how that takes away. If The Fiend would have lost in the United States to Goldberg at a house show that was not televised, that still would make The Fiend look weak.
And I think that the argument with the Saudi shows being house shows have not been true of the last couple. Whenever the titles have changed hands, whenever the main titles, the Universal and the WWE titles, have changed hands on those shows. So, I think that perception is changing. So I don't think that. I mean, you know, every argument is valid, I suppose. But I certainly wouldn't lean on that one because, you know, outside of fucking like Tuesday at Texas, you don't see many fucking big titles change hands at quote unquote house shows. So
that's very true. Like, and when we do see a title change hands, it's usually something like the U.S. title.
Right.
So,
not like the title.
I guess my main point is that it just doesn't seem like they have booked him and pushed him as this terrifying, unstoppable presence. Yes, the Fiend character comes off that way, but the results of the matches make him look like any other wrestler.
Now,
and I don't think that does that character justice. I think that character needs to be the one that, when it comes out, it's terrifying. It's dominant. It's a big deal, and it doesn't seem that way.
To Poot's point, I think that they realized that they fucked up in the fall of 2019.
Yep.
I think they realized that they really fucking screwed the pooch on him. So I think that The Fiend versus Cena was going to be something altogether different at WrestleMania before we got the Firefly Funhouse match. I think COVID, that's a COVID casualty. I think that this probably would have went the way of Cena Undertaker, where the Fiend probably would have come out and damn near squashed Cena. Cena probably would have done his like 5 super moves. The Fiend would have bound right back up, hit fucking Sister Abigail, hit the claw, been done. So, had that happened, as I think it was scheduled to, that would change the perception 110%. But because they have the ability, the levity, to kind of book Bray Wyatt in these like weird fucking like mystical things, it's allowed them to protect the Fiend and build him up so that whenever he comes back in an actual in-ring match, it's gonna mean more and be more terrifying. That's my 2 cents. So,
and that's all very well possible. I agree with you guys that I think we'll have to see what SummerSlam has in store.
Right. Judging to this point, I do not believe the Fiend has been as big of a success as he should have been, due to the failure in the fall, and then the slow, like fucking tortoise-esque rebuild process that they're working with him on, which is great. So we'll see.
Whew. Covered a lot of ground tonight, guys. We have anything else we need to cover?
And we didn't even talk about The Rock buying the XFL.
Well, Rock bought XFL. The end. Beef got his jersey.
Well, okay. I have a question about that. So The Rock and who was this other? Red something?
Red Skelton.
Redbird. No, I think it's like Redbird Media. It's his ex-wife Danny. She's like in charge of the corporation.
Okay, so they bought the XFL.
Kind of awkward.
No, they're business partners. You know, so sometimes sometimes you can realize, hey man, there's no spark here, but realize that you still trust an individual with every bit of your core. So I get it.
Yeah, but so that aside.
Guys?
They bought that from who? Vince and Fox? Or Vince?
No. You know, I don't know how bankruptcies work. I know that it was set to go to auction.
Oh.
But it didn't actually go to auction. The Rock bought it before it went to auction. I just don't know how it works with bankruptcies and everything, because he wouldn't technically buy it from Vince.
From what I understand, it's something along the lines of like, now I'm no, fiscal or financial analyst here, so forgive me if I get this wrong. But from what I understand, the way it kind of works is like a tax auction or a tax thing. So like if a property is, taxes are owed on a property, it's like, okay, these are up and you can buy them, and you can get into property or a house for like pennies on the dollar, like absolute pennies on the dollar, if they're in that state. It's the same idea, just in the form of bankruptcy versus, hey, you owe taxes on this. You know what I mean? From what I understand, that's how it works.
So with The Rock acquiring the XFL, has there been any details about a relaunch?
None yet. So
right now he just owns the rights?
Right. So I've read, and I don't know how fucking factual this is, so who fucking knows, because, the internet. But I've read that The Rock was looking to work with the NFL to make it more of like a minor league system, more of like an NBA summer league, where like, because essentially that's what it was a pipeline to the pros. It was a place where guys whose pro careers didn't work out could go back to kind of exhibit their skills, and rookies who didn't get contracts could go and kind of show out. So I think The Rock was looking to work with the NFL to make this more of like an official thing, like literally a minor league like feeder system situation, which is a smart move, because there's, like, we talk about AEW trying to compete with WWE, and how in a few years that might be a reality. Nothing ever is going to compete with the NFL for money, ratings, people, anything. If the NFL decides that they want the top XFL player just to sit him on the bench just to prove a point to show that the best player in the XFL is not anywhere even close to the worst player in the NFL. They can do it. They can go out and throw all the money in the world and do that. So, like, that, you know...
It's got to be weird having Sideways 8 money.
It is. Yeah, right? Like, and that's literally what they have. They're making, like, insane amounts of money on fucking TV revenues alone. So, I believe...
What the hell was
The Rock
that?
is doing... It was a cough.
It sounded like something leapt out of your throat and was just like, I can't breathe, and then went back.
I think that The Rock is doing a smart thing and, like, working to be a partner with the NFL versus a competitor. And I get it, you know, it was the XFL season was during the spring, off NFL time. You know, that was smart, but, you know, realistically, it was still a, you know, competitor. So I think that it would be smart if they did that. But is that a fact? No. Nothing is fact. Nothing is set in stone. Do
you think they're going to shop around for networks to air it on?
Well, so ESPN backed out of the XFL deal because they listed Vince McMahon as the linchpin and said, well, because, you know, Vince McMahon's a lot of clout. To me, The Rock is a bigger name than Vince McMahon is. And, you know, chicken, egg, etc. But
I would agree.
The Rock,
Who's Vince McMahon?
The Rock is a fucking... Right? The Rock is a fucking multimedia superstar. With his network TV success on Titan Games, with his fucking movies, you know, you name it. His fucking tequila. The Rock succeeds at everything The Rock does. So, to me, like, if I'm ESPN, I'd be like, okay, you know what? Like, you are equal to or better than The Rock, Pac-Man's Vince McMahon. Like, you are equal to or greater than Vince McMahon. So, you know what? We'll go ahead and snatch you back up. Well, you know, I don't even know if we're gonna get an NFL season this year. They're trying, but you know,
that's not even a done deal yet.
Well,
I mean,
the league is saying it's happening. There's like 50 or 60 players who are opting out of the season because of COVID. Today was the deadline for like opting out because of COVID. There are some big names, but you know, for the most part, everybody's kind of seeing where it goes. I mean, so sports are so right now the fucking world's in a weird place. No, the world has figured it out. Every other fucking sophisticated and even backwater country in the world has fucking figured out how to get on top of this. The USA is the only fucking black eye on this wonderful blue globe we call the Earth. So, sports in this country are in a weird place right now because MLB is like, fuck it, we'll do it live. They're touring the country with their stupid teams, and like one of the teams, half of their players came down with the COVID already. Like not even 4 games in, and an entire team came down with COVID. Did not disclose that before the game. Had to have another team quarantined. The commissioner of baseball came out and said, no, we're not going to cancel the season. Well, I mean, this is not going to be the last time that happens. I guarantee it. Whereas the NHL and NBA are doing their playoffs, so yes, it's a lot easier to wrap up a season than it is to like have a whole season. But they are doing their playoffs in what's called the bubble, where they have 2 cities, where like a West Coast city and an East Coast city, where all of the West Coast and East Coast teams are staying. They can't go out. They can't go out and drink, party, eat, whatever. They practice. They play their games. They go back to their rooms. They got these big fucking immaculate spreads. They're tested every day. The NBA and the NHL have had 0 cases from the bubble.
Oh.
So that is working. The MLB style of let's just tour around the country with fucking like 87 people. That's not working.
Oh,
the NFL,
really? Shock and awe.
Right. The NFL has said, no, we're not going to do a bubble. That's stupid. And I mean, it makes sense because that's 4 months or so. No, it's September, October, November, December, January, February. So potentially 6 to 7 months, depending on how good your team is, that you could be away from home. So I get it. Like, you don't want to say we're going to just pick up and move, thousands of people, including staff, coaches, players, for 7 months of the year. Even though you're making $1 bajillion, every player is making at least $750,000. Like 6 months out of the year, okay, you know what? I could probably do it. But they're opting not to. They're opting to have a full schedule with teams traveling, and so at this point,
do you foresee COVID outbreaks with these teams?
I do. We as a society have to figure out that it's probably not a good idea to send the kids back to school first. Once we all realize that, hey, that's a poor decision, and like the COVID starts getting worse in the fall again, and everyone's like, oh my God, I didn't know it could get worse. And we're all like, fucking duh. But like, we have to figure that out first. Once we figure that out, I think that the kibosh is going to be on the NFL real hard. I think that things are probably going to be looming for the fall in the September timeframe that may end up mitigating this. But if the season begins, I don't think it ends. So,
oh my.
That being said, the Rock would be smart not to make any plans for 2021 because, he, they're not going to be a fall ball league. I know they're not going to be a fall ball league because that would be dumb. Because again, that's direct competition with the NFL and or college football, both of which are institutions.
So you're thinking that they're going to pick up when the NFL lets off?
Right, spring ball. So I'm thinking probably 2022 is when we're going to see the league back in action. I could be wrong. Again, if
spring ball was my nickname in college.
I'm not going to... okay. I'm not going to get my soapbox here, but if we as a country can fucking figure out... What now?
Nothing. Go on.
Go
the country can figure out how to fucking minimalize this and marginalize this and can actually get rid of this, or at least, push it to the fucking, boundaries. By the end of the year, maybe we see the XFL in 2021. But being that Chris Jericho has already rescheduled the Rock and Rager 3 for the fall of next year, gives me little hope that we'll be back to quote-unquote normal.
The what
by 2021.
And who now?
The Rock and Rager C. The Chris Jericho cruise.
This will be his
yes.
Third one?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It's already been rescheduled from the spring. Actually, it was supposed to be again like it was this year in February. It's been rescheduled till next fall. So we'll see.
Well.
It feels like every 2 weeks something changes. So we'll see.
But there is a bright side though that The Rock now owns it instead of Vince McMahon.
Yes.
Right, and it's as opposed to laying dead, which in all honesty, it was not as good as the NFL, but it was fucking football in the off season.
It was something.
It had a fun set of rules, and it gave me a reason to get excited on the weekends and watch a fun game. So now does The Rock strip it of its fun rules and go back to what it was doing before? To basically what the NFL is? I hope not. I hope they keep some of the fun stuff in there. But
so you don't want to see the XFL turn into a legit minor NFL league?
Well, so I think that they can be a minor NFL league, but run the exact same way that they were. I loved the transparency. The transparency is probably my favorite things, where you could hear the coaches calling them plays, hear the coaches talking to players on the sideline. Oh yeah, it was a smattering of fucking F-bombs and S-bombs and everything else. But that's what you get. That's what a fucking football game is. And when they went to booth reviews, when they stopped the game, they would literally take you to the booth, have the judges sit there and go through it frame by frame, and then they would include the actual referees in the field. They talk it through with them, It was 100% transparency. That's wonderful. Some of the other gimmicks, like the like, you know, no extra points. You either go for a 1 point from the 2, a 2 point from the 5, or a 3 point from the 10. I like that. A lot of people didn't. So stuff like that may get pushed out, but I'm hoping that it resembles a little bit of the semblance of what we saw earlier in the fall, or early in the spring rather, because I think that it was a fun game that I think the Rock would be smart to keep as is.
Well, there's optimism there. At least Vince McMahon doesn't own it anymore, and like you said, I wonder if more networks would be open to working with The Rock as opposed to working with Vince McMahon.
I would imagine, because I think the Rock is a little more diplomatic than Vince McMahon. Well, yeah.
Okay,
but I mean,
but again, to be fair,
dude,
like The Rock is not a media mogul. Like, okay, he's a media mogul, but he's not like a business mogul. Vince, even though yes, the ratings are in the toilet, Vince has proven that he can run a successful business that continues to make profits even in the face of adversity. So, like, if you're looking at the bottom line and you're looking at dollars and cents, you know, I don't think it's as clear cut as all that. I really don't. But I mean, at the same time, The Rock I think is a bigger name.
I just feel like that he would be easier to deal with because he understands the ins and outs of something outside of his own little bubble. Like, I'm just saying. Yeah,
that I could absolutely see that. Because, you know, we've said it before, Vince McMahon lives in his own little universe. He's dubbed it the WWE universe. That's the reality that he lives in. I feel like The Rock is more grounded in actual reality than Vince McMahon.
Agreed.
Long in the tooth here.
That's absolutely true. Do we have a Stump the Chumps Dum Dum?
We don't. I
Maniac
hope
has
that we
failed us.
didn't. Well, we kind of failed him. I hope that he was not put off by us knocking out those 2 awesome questions on the show that never was, and you know, because since then he hasn't sent anything over. He sent me that Facebook message, and I was like, "Yeah, man, we did it," but you know, the show's never gonna make the light of day because you know, technical snafus. No, was the last I heard. So, Midcard Maniac, if you're listening, you know, no hard feelings,
buddy.
Hard feelings, buddy.
It's the nature of the beast.
Technical snafu.
If we were wrestling smart, what we really would have done is played it off and just went with it on another episode.
Played it off like we were.
Yeah, played it off like, oh, we didn't answer that question in the episode that didn't air. Read it on the next episode and play it off like, oh, this is the first time we're hearing about it. And let's try to figure it out, guys.
I think what's so frustrating is that we absolutely killed it on both of those questions. They were tough questions, but we like fucking nailed every aspect of it. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. And also, if you're someone that's not the Midcard Maniac, feel free to email us questions for stumpthechumps at pittsburghpiledriverpodcast@gmail.com. Send us 2 emails, one with the question, one with the answer, so that we can all participate. But please, just, you know, interact, send us something. Makes us look foolish.
Yes.
Stump it good.
Stump us
Somebody
real
thank
good.
the sponsors again the proper way.
Beef, you do it.
We would like to thank our very own part of the Pittsburgh Piledriver podcast himself, Casual Gaming Dad. You can check out Casual Gaming Dad Corner on Facebook, on the Twitch machine, on the YouTube machine, Casual Gaming Dad 84. Give him likes.
He got the number right.
Subscribes, stars, hearts and diamonds, horseshoes and blue moons, pots of gold and rainbows, and the blue and the red balloons. Give them all the things.
Blue moon.
He's he's knocking out lots of great content. I saw him playing Cuphead earlier. And of course there's Monday Night Mario Kart. So yeah, I mean there's always something going on with the old casual gaming dad. And as well, we'd like to thank Sean Tischler and working with IWC, even in this very tumultuous and tenuous time, where we're all really just chomping at the bit, trying to get back to normal. But those of us who are grounded in reality don't go to a fucking fair like atmosphere without mask on. Anyway, Sean, however, Brittany actually pointed out to me that Sean posted a picture of the inside of the Expo 2 here not too long ago. I don't know if it was like a the memories, or I don't know if it was like a teaser of things to come. But
I hope it's a teaser.
Yeah, that would be righteous. Also, Sean's got a birthday coming up here in August, so happy early birthday in advance, Sean, to you from the guys at the P3.
Happy birthday, Santa Claus.
Birthday.
Well, I guess, should I burrito time this, guys?
Burrito it, baby. Take us to Moe's.
Thank you guys very much for listening to the P3 podcast. We appreciate it. Make sure you check out Breaking Kayfabe on our YouTube channel and over on Anchor or wherever you find your podcasts. We're on there. We're on the Spoodafoos. We're on the Anchors. We're on the Google Podcasts. We're on all the places. So look us up. And hopefully down the road, maybe we can do another episode of Collar Elbow Tie-Up. That would be a lot of fun. But make sure to go back and check all of our older content. We are now into what I consider season 2, boys. We are into, because we have over a year of podcasts. Well over a year of podcasts. So,
can't believe we've been doing this bullshit for 2 years.
Hooray. Good job on us.
Here's a little suggestion for a Breaking Kayfabe. I read somebody.
You mean Facebook a collar elbow tie up?
Nope. Breaking Kayfabe. Where they list people list 16 something, and you go through the list of the 16, top 16 whatever until you land at the best through discussion with your buddies. So I think it'd be fun to do that with stuff like animated shows, video games, bands.
So it could be anything, even outside of wrestling.
Exactly.
Oh, that's interesting.
I like it. We can play around with that.
Yeah, a little bit of roundtable discussion, and it's just something fun to work with. So, fans, if you want to hear that, stay tuned.
Hopefully, it'll be around. We can do that for Mr. Tiger Bomb Tom, Beef the Legend.
Uppercut.
That was a little fucking lag. Mr. Alec Ransom, the supposed reigning, defending, undisputed Cruiserweight champion, and myself,
true Cruiserweight,
the real, true, soon to be again,
false,
reigning, defending, undisputed,
ain't gonna happen,
Cruiserweight champion, Mr. Pusa Bard, baby. Have a wonderful evening.
I have to pee.
Slap nuts.